as the twisted one.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but
Is the price okay on it?
same thing. And the more you guys order, the cheaper it's gonna be.
Well, we've got a bowl.
Yeah. If you're not sure you guys are gonna like it, then just order a few yards and try, because Lucy finds it hard.
Well, we got
And just
Icru linen from Rachelle. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all I do, and because I'm not restricted with a window of a frame, I don't plan all the movement. It just happens because I move around. And if I'm like here, I have to fill this up, and I'm not going to fill it up all and then like up to the center. Like I'll get bored and I'll do a circle, and then I'll take whatever's left over from another strip, and so that's why you see circles and stuff in my, because I get bored. Yeah, so it just creates movement all by itself.
from not having the frame, and that makes sense.
It does make sense. And the way she's sitting makes sense. She's not
Well,
leaning
with
over.
this linen,
Yeah.
it's really easy to pull a thread. So when I go to take a piece of linen to make my rug, it's really, really easy to pull. So what I do is I'll cut along on both sides. I'll do the same, so I know it's on grain.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll work a certain distance from that line, and I'll mark it.
Okay.
But when I transfer my pattern, sometimes, you know, you shift a few threads or not, I ignore the line that I just drew and I just hook
Following the
straight.
thread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it's not like a Persian rug that there's a pattern that you need to really follow.
Yeah.
So if it kind of, it's all good.
Yes.
And how do you finish it?
How do I finish it? There was an article in Rug Hooking magazine, the fall magazine, I think.
I subscribe just because of that that article of
Yeah.
yours, by the way.
I use just tape, webbing, like regular webbing, and I stitch it as close as I can to the fold here, and you can always see linen. And during the first show that I had, when I'd walk into the gallery, I saw the linen when I walked in, and I didn't like that. So I cover the linen with a chain stitch. So I use knitting wool, and I do the chain stitch. So if I was to use this and make believe that it's knitting wool, I'll show you. You usually, because you see the linen, you know that there's at least one hole where you can work. On the big rugs, I do 2 rows. So just like the embroidery stitch, a chain stitch,
Everything with that hook.
I do.
Can you cook with it?
Yeah.
Well, look at that. Look how
So-
cool that is.
The only thing you have to be aware of is that you can have a tendency to go really tight when you go around. So you have to make sure that you don't tighten as you go, because it'll pucker. And you have to press your rug first,
Oh, okay.
make sure it's dry, and that's all I do. It's just a chain stitch. And most of the time I'll do 2, because what it does, it actually creates a square. So my rug is here, there's 2 rows of chain stitch, and then there's the backing. Because the wool has a thickness and the tape has a thickness, so it kind of does a square.
So you do 2 rows of it, or 2 chain stitches?
Two rows of
2
chain
rows of it.
stitches.
Would you ever start with that? Do that before you start?
Never.
No.
No.
You would do that before you put the tape in,
No, after the tape.
after it gets in.
Because if you do it before, once you fold your linen, you're still going to see the
Yeah.
linen. So it's to hide the linen.
Okay.
And you can use, you know, a funky color. I usually put a knitting wool that, you know, I wouldn't have necessarily chosen, because there's no color in the rug. It just makes it much less boring. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't necessarily match color.
No, I don't like matching stuff. No.
And it does look nice and square when it's done.
It does. It does.
It's really neat, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever sewn your webbing tape on before you finish your webbing
No,
there?
no, because I never tried it because I didn't want it to be tight and stuff. You know, once I did a rug, Windswept Pines, and it started off, I think it was 52 or 54 by 54. And it ended up 47 by 52. So if that webbing would have been there, there would have been a puckering and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I just do everything in stages where I know it's like a recipe. It works, so you don't fuss with it.
Do you do a border first
I always do 2 rows, at least 2 rows
before you start?
before I start. And once the design is sketched.
Okay, I have a question for you. How do you stop your,
Oh, this?
yeah, that it won't work out? I tried it. the
So
other-
what I
I was
do,
doing that the other day and I didn't know how to stop.
so this is the beginning, because there was like a loop, I was holding
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah.
So this I keep on the top,
Yeah.
and then at the end, this obviously would be all here, right?
Okay.
So what I do is I go and I get it,
Oh, you do. You bring it back down.
I bring it down, and because they're so close together, I'll knot them together. And if it's too thick,
It was farther.
yeah, this one's farther because
Yeah.
I would have ended up here.
Yeah.
So I just make a few knots.
There. But supposedly that you were way over there. You couldn't. You could
I
do-
won't be over there because when I start,
Yeah.
I'll go all around
Yeah, and you come
and then
back
I'll
there.
stop. Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you can change colors, but wherever you're gonna stop, you're gonna eventually start something.
Yeah.
So you're
just
gonna have that.
Tie
thread.
them
You have
together.
the time.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're using like a thick thread, a thick wool, then just weave it through some of the loops because a knot is gonna be too
Okay.
heavy.
Okay.
Just like you would in embroidery.
Okay, good. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Like hiding your ends in a
Yeah.
crochet thing.
Yeah. You don't go through your loops though,
No.
No.
because eventually those will pop out.
Okay.
And the reason I do a straight border, and it's at least a specific width, is because it's the width of my binding, and it's 1/4 of an inch. I always use a 8 cut, so eventually I can go in between 2 rows of loops.
Smart.
Least amount of work, better. I believe.
That's right
Stupid
over
thing
there
takes
with
long
not being
enough.
bored.
Yeah. And I don't care how big the piece is going to be. What I do is I play around with the ideas, I make the sketch, and whatever the sketch is and how big it needs to be, depending on the facial details and stuff like that. I don't do a work because it's going to take me less hours than another. If it takes 2 months, it'll take 2 months.
And how long, for example, how have you been working on that piece?
This would take about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks.
How long do you book every day for a certain amount?
Every day.
That's like 8 hours a
Breaks
day.
every
So.
hour.
I wake up around 6
How do you avoid
usually.
getting
The kids, you know what? I have braces that I sleep with and I wear. I started, and I don't eat bread anymore. Or I reduced because of the gluten. I think it has
Your
because
joints.
once your joints start hurting, it kind of spreads. You know, you're all stiff everywhere.
Yeah, and the gluten can cause.
I'm getting old too, yeah.
What kind of bracelets do you use?
Just the ones you get at the superstore
the
or the
drugstore.
pharmacy, yeah.
Yeah, I wear those
That really
too.
helps actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I wear those.
It's just a fatigue. It's more than anything else.
Yeah,
It just
that's what I
relaxes.
use.
Yeah, I drop the girls off at school around 7:30, and I grab my coffee and I go upstairs and I start working. And I stop when I have to go pick them up. And I usually start again right after I pick them up or after,
Which is like late
Yeah.
afternoon.
yeah,
When you pick them up,
Yeah.
pick them up, it's like
from
3
school,
o'clock or
2:30. And then I cook dinner, and usually everybody kind of goes their own way, and I continue working. And if working is also marketing. It's also looking in books for ideas. It's Pinterest. Pinterest is a great. I love it. I love. Do you know how to print it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I have a book of all my my Pinterest stuff.
You wanna see mine?
Yeah, you can print. If you scroll down after all, I don't know if it works because they changed the Pinterest.
But this was the one from,
Pinterest?
this off Pinterest, the inspiration.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I saw that on Pinterest.
Harpy,
Yes.
she did it from Japan, and she hooked it with recycled t-shirts, and
Oh,
it's a
wow.
casual facet.
Yeah.
It looks like cat food.
It does, yes.
See, if you use this for the chain stitch, this would be a lot of fun because it would change.
Tired of doing
I
it.
had this yarn that I got, breaks in little hand dye.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Like a saw. And painted it, it's called a saw. And actually I had it and I thought, oh, I would incorporate a lot of different things.
Yeah,
Yes,
But Pinterest is a great site.
I love it.
Yeah, do you have to join it though to be able to print some stuff off?
No, I never
No.
You just go.
What I do is after you have to go through all the tiles, so I scroll down and then I press Control P and it prints them.
Control P with.
Prints them all, but you have to scroll down. I don't know if
You
it's
have
the
sort
same.
of, as if you were, you're scrolling down as if you were copying from where.
No, if you know how you have more than just
You highlight.
yeah, it's all highlighted.
Yeah, that's
And you can
Because
put
if you
individual
only
things.
highlight what's on your screen and you're thinking it's going to print all of them in the board, it won't. You have to go through. You know how they go up. Put them all up, and then Control A. So you choose them all. They're all highlighted, and Control P. And they print. They print a specific size, but visually it's really good.
So these are not copyrighted, these are free patterns kind of thing?
Even if they're copyrighted, you can use things as inspiration. Sometimes it's just a color plan. Sometimes it's just the way somebody's sitting. The way they've shaded, the way they've done the photography.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just like looking in a magazine.
I don't know whether, I wouldn't claim the inspiration came from, and I.
But that's a geometric, so I mean,
But I'm not
You
claiming,
can't copyright it.
no, it's a geometric.
I'm not claiming it as my own, I'm claiming the inspiration for it.
Yeah, I know that when I first started, especially like Rug Cooking Daily, people were like, you need to write down where your inspiration come from. Bullshit, you don't have to. I don't care where my, everyday life. It doesn't come from anywhere. You don't have to write anything. You don't have to explain yourself. It is. Well, it's very clear when someone copies. You're not hiding anything. You're not fooling anybody. It's very clear. So, don't go to a gallery with anything copied. I can tell you now, you will never, ever get a show anything copied. They don't want to see anything that's already been done already.
But like a lot of patterns are sold that are really copied from foot patterns.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that possible?
But the quilting communities have the same discussions. The art community, the pottery community, we all talk about the same kind of problems and issues. Where does copyright kind of kick in and stuff like that. I don't worry about it because I know where my stuff comes from. I don't get out of the house very much. This is just my own little world. So.
Well, I mean, I've been taking photographs.
Yeah. Right.
Well, wherever you,
Right.
yeah.
Because the more art you're exposed to,